this weather video, we're going to be talking about the severe weather threat that we're going to be talking about over the next 3 days, as well as the flooding threat happening in the southern plains to the southwest, and our heat dome that's floating up in the east coast. Now, right now, for current hazards, we do have a lot of heat advisories and excessive heat warnings that we'll be talking about over later in the video. We also do have flood watches down here in New Mexico, even some that has started expanding into central plains in the Midwest. And we're also going to be having a severe weather threat tonight. And where will the severe weather threat will be? Well, it's going to be over in 2 different areas. One over here down in the southeast here, we do have an enhanced risk for a little bit of sections of North Carolina and Georgia. Western half of South Carolina is in that too. We do have a larger slight risk that does cover the panhandle of Florida, most of Georgia, all of South Carolina, most of North Carolina, and a little bit into Alabama. We also do have another bit over here in the Midwest and the Central Plains. Nebraska, Iowa, bits of Colorado, and Minnesota could be seeing some severe weather. We also do have a big marginal risk extending from the Midwest to the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic to the Southwest. So we do have a large marginal risk for severe weather. Now, the wind is going to be our most serious threat, as we do have a 30% chance within 25 miles of a point of damaging winds. Luckily, we don't have a hatch risk at all, so keep in mind of that. However, the wind risk does cover the existing areas of our slight risk in both areas and our marginal risks. And also for the hail, we only do have a 5% chance in 2 different areas, over here in the northern plains and central plains and down here in the southwest. And luckily, they're only 5% chances, so it's not a big chance of seeing damaging hail. But again, obviously, that is not a 0% chance, so it could happen here and there. And for the tornado outlook, it is very confined over here in Nebraska, Iowa, a little bit of South Dakota, and southern Minnesota. This is our confined area of a tornado risk. We could have probably 1 or 2 tornadoes happen tonight over here in this area too, so please be careful because it still can happen. Anything is really possible with these storms. Day 2 for this, we do have a very large marginal risk across the East Coast here and a little bit of Montana. I would imagine that by tomorrow they'll add a slight risk somewhere within all of this, either, up here in the Midwest or even down here in the Southeast still. So much of the risk has not changed. It has downgraded a little bit, but I would expect them to add like a slight risk of some sort. Day 3 up here in the northern plains, we do have ourselves a slight risk through the Dakotas, Minnesota, and northern Nebraska. What could we see throughout tonight? Now, the HRRR model did do a little reset, so I'm not going to be able to cover much here, but I can cover a little bit. So we can already see that around 3 to 4 o'clock, we do have these pop-up showers already forming over here in the Carolinas and Georgia. And then as we go into about 5 to 6 o'clock, maybe even 7 o'clock, those storms will start to ramp up over in the Carolinas and Georgia. And then as we then go into 10 p.m., those storms will really start ramping up. And this is where we're going to definitely get our wind threat happening. And also these storms are going to be moving quite slow. And in some of these storms, you can definitely get some embedded hail with them as well. Now, obviously, the hail threat we did see was a 5% chance, but it still obviously could happen. So basically, this is going to happen throughout all of midnight. Now, the HRRR model doesn't really have anything to go past, 2 a.m., but at least if you're in Georgia and the Carolinas, watch out throughout all of tonight. Make sure you have those warnings on all your phones, so that way you could wake up to whenever the important stuff will happen. On the plains, so we could see right around 2 to 3 o'clock, you can see that we already do have some storms, pop-up showers forming over here in Colorado and Wyoming. As we get into about 5, 6 o'clock, those storms will ramp up in Nebraska and Iowa. And then throughout the evening, so 8 to 9 p.m., we will see those showers really start ramping up, and they will be coming from Colorado, Wyoming, and kind of move through. Now, we also got to watch out about Iowa and southern Minnesota, as they will be part of this. So we can see that we do have a line forming here and also behind here. So we might even have multiple rounds of severe weather possible throughout the central and northern plains. Now, for excessive rainfall, we do have two different areas up here in the Midwest. You could be seeing some excessive rainfall. Even down here in New Mexico, where yesterday we were dealing with flooding, both of these areas could be seeing a 15% chance or a slight risk of seeing some excessive rainfall. We even have a large 5% chance out of this whole thing. Very large 5%. Like, this is extending throughout the northern portions of the country and even down here in the southeast. And today, too, the slight risk of flash flooding will continue up into the Great Lakes and Midwest, so we need to be careful of that. Then day 3, we just have a little tiny bit of a slight risk happening up here in northern Vermont and very northern upstate New York, and just a little tiny bit for New Hampshire. But we do have a couple of green areas for flash flooding, so we still need to be careful of those. Throughout the next 3 days, some areas up here in the Midwest could be seeing up to 4 to 5 inches. Even over here in southern Missouri, we could be seeing 5 inches. In Nebraska, we could be seeing some of that. Down here in New Mexico, some isolated areas you could probably see up to 4 to 5 inches as well. Even over here into around the Great Lakes region especially, a large swath of 1 to 3 inches of rain are very possible. In the southeast, some spots might get barely any rain, and some spots could receive a lot of rain. For our climate for the next week, over in the East Coast here, we'll be seeing above than average temperatures, and over here in the Pacific Northwest, we are going to be having lots of heat too. The only places that are going to be experiencing near normal average temperatures or even below average temperatures would be the Southern Plains and Southwest region. Now, whenever I talked about precipitation in last video, which was yesterday, literally the country, all of the country was either above average for precipitation or around near normal. And then for the next 2 weeks, we'll probably be seeing the same thing. However, a lot of the country, probably half of the country, will be seeing near normal average temperatures, which is good because we do want to see that we're making progress on reaching our normal temperature. So we're not either going to be so cold during the summer, which I don't know why you'd be complaining about that, or it's going to be super hot. For the next 2 weeks, let me tell you about this. Most of the country will either be above average for precipitation or near normal. Unless if you live in Burlington, Vermont, or upstate New York, you might see just a tiny little bit of below average of rainfall or precipitation specifically. I know it's summer, but over here in New Mexico and Arizona, we see that we could be seeing a lot more rain. So that monsoon rain will definitely coming in very soon. That's why over here in Phoenix and Tucson especially, we could get very rainy. Now, when will this 90-degree weather go away? Well, probably until about the weekend. Most of us in the East Coast over here will be done with at least 90 degrees. Now, it won't completely happen. Like, there might be some spots over here in the Carolinas and Virginia that could reach, 90s in places, but we are definitely going to be saying goodbye to 100 degrees in the East Coast, especially New York, for basically hopefully never coming back, but actually who knows about that. And that's going to be the end for today's weather video. So if you guys like to see a new weather video, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe, and also share with your friends and family. We do want to grow the Huntweather family, and we want to make sure that everybody hears the news about all this stuff, so make sure you do that, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.